Okay, so this is sort of an interesting effect I've been seeing out of my SSG. Now this is not a TS SSG, this is strictly an SSG, copper wound, couple 2N3055s. And what I'm finding is, well, for one thing, I really get confused as to whether I'm getting anywhere with this battery. It's funny, it's found this in the dump a long time ago, and 12.4 volts was about as high as I could get it to charge conventionally. And then she would drop off over time to 12 flat. Whereas now, after many cycling through only being Bedini charged, she'll sit at 12.6 overnight, and then if you let it for a whole weekend, she'll come down to 12.44. But one effect that I have seen is that she'll handle a load better. Back in the beginning, I was only testing it on a 1 amp load with the 20 watt incandescent bulb, 1.5 amps, something like that. Nowadays, I'll run a 50 watt halogen, which is more like a 4 amp load, and she'll handle that for 6 hours before the voltage dumps. And when I mean dumps, I mean sometimes I come back late and it's fallen off the curve and it's running 9.32 volts loaded, and I'm like, oh! So I disconnect it and it actually revive almost all the way back up to 12 volts given an hour after that. Generally I try not to take it lower than 10.5 or 11, but its operating voltage is so low compared to a brand new battery that it's difficult to cycle it. Because, for example, if it's been sitting for a while, like it was this weekend, I wasn't around last weekend, so I come back, and when I had left it had done a cold night and still was looking at 12.6 in the morning. Well, when I came back 3 days later, it had dropped to 12.44, and I thought, well, that's pretty good. It seems to be some improvement over from the very beginning, although it's kind of arguable. But anyway, and then I thought, well, I'll run a load on it. I mean, I really don't care about the fate of this battery. It's just a test battery. And so I ran a 4 amp load for 6 hours. So, that's like 24 amp hours I pulled out of it. Good and bright too, like it was really putting out 50 watts of light basically. And so then I charge it up. I put on a charger last night, and it's been on the charger since about 8 o'clock last night. It's now about 2:30 in the afternoon the following day, so it hasn't been on the charge for 24 hours, let's say, and it's reading 12.8 being charged right now. It's running off a source of, which says 13 volts source, but it's actually above 14 volts open circuit. It's drawing almost 2 amps, and the ammeter between the circuit and the battery is showing, 1 2 3 4, so 1.1 and a half amps, let's say. But here's the interesting thing that I've found with this SSG circuit. Like this is almost pushing the circuit as hard as you could imagine pushing it. And what I've found is that it's an all or nothing situation right now. And this is pertaining to a discussion that I was sort of carrying on with 49er about the resistance of a battery as it approaches, charge. It's not going to want to take much current. This is the conversation we were sort of kind of in and around the conversation we're having about pushing a voltage pushing current into a battery, at potentially a loss, versus letting a battery take what it wants, kind of thing. Now, if I just roll off this plot, watch what happens here. Sorry, I got a helicopter in behind me here. Okay, so if I drop this off even the slightest bit, she just goes right down to nothing. Okay, now that circuit is still actually running. You can probably hear it. But it's now putting into the battery, and there she just died completely. So I got a momentary switch, kick it back on. But then if I reduce the amount of resistance, it's just as fine as I can roll a 1K pot. Boom, she's right up. And then if I just touch the pot, see that? It's just like all or nothing, eh? And I thought that was strange. If anybody else has ever experienced that before. You know, I don't know if there's something actually wrong with my circuit, whether the HFE on my transistors is gone, or whether something funky, eh? I mean, it's really quite strange that I've always had what seemed like a whole lot more control. I'm just about ready to give up on the SSG, actually, in favor of the TS. It just seems to be a far superior circuit. But anyway, thought I'd share that. Thanks for watching.